Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Tips and Tea Tuesday.
Happy Tips and Tea Tuesday to you, Queen. How are you this morning?
I'm here.
Hey, we both here.
Thank you, God, I'm here.
Yes, yes, yes.
Good job. Okay. Trying to
See
pull up
those
my screen
comments
and
on.
all the comments just in case.
Hey, I see we got Mr. Shabazz watching. Good morning, Aziz. Happy Tips and Tea Tuesday, King.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for joining on the live.
Yes, yes, yes. It's been a good week. How was your Easter?
It was good. We got the video chat with the family. Wish we could be there with them. Definitely wish I was eating the home cooking.
I know that's right, Queen.
But then again, if I was there, I would probably be doing the cooking. So part of me was like, I miss them and I want to be there. But part of me was enjoying a very relaxing Resurrection Sunday. All right. I got to hear the word that morning, got to listen to me some good music. And then Mr. Shabazz and I went out for dinner, and we just enjoyed just being out and just taking in some fresh air because we had been in the house literally the whole week. It was funny because my daughter and my mom was asking, they're like, well, did they decorate around the complex? And I was like,
Mhm,
I don't know, because usually they do something right at the main entrance where the security desk is, where the security gate is. Like they
mhm.
decorated for Christmas, they decorated for Halloween, um, Dia de los Muertos. Like they do different type of decor, and I'm like, we haven't been outside of the complex, so I
Mhm.
don't even know if there's any decorations out there.
Hey, but I mean, you were booked and busy. You can't see everything when you're booked and busy now, Queen.
It's locked in. It's locked in.
Definitely, definitely.
How was your Easter? I know some
Um,
news, but I don't want to say nothing. So,
my Easter was actually pretty awesome. I mean, it was a little tiring, but for those of you guys that don't know, I am officially a grandma now. So
ooh,
we had our little bundle of joy. She popped up on us, and her arrival date was Resurrection Sunday. So it was truly, truly a blessing.
yes. Big congratulations to you and the family, Queen.
Thank you, thank you.
Praying good health, great wealth, and abundance over
Yes,
this
honey.
new
Speaking
joy.
all that over her life.
Hmm.
Super excited. She is so beautiful. And I mean, I know I'm a little biased because it's my first grandbaby, but oh, she's just so beautiful.
Yes, she is. I saw the pictures already. I'm like, how she come out looking cute already?
Hey.
You know, usually these babies come out, we be looking a little rough. I know I saw my baby pictures. I was like, who's that?
Girl, yes. I know exactly what you're talking about. They stage them and make them look so cute now, but it was just an awesome experience. And I was just very, very thankful that I was there to be able to witness it and just truly enjoy God's blessings.
There he is. And I'm telling you, way back in the Jurassic era, when I was born, they didn't care how we looked. They was like, she crying, take the picture. I was bright red,
Not the Jurassic age, no.
bright red, and I was giving somebody the stank eye. I was like, get that camera out my face. Already,
Right,
already. Go away, paparazzi. No pictures. No pictures.
right. Oh, gracious.
Yes, yes. But that's definitely a blessing. A new bundle of joy. Bring
Yes.
fresh life into the world.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I said we definitely need to go ahead and kick things off because you know the queens be having things to do.
That part, yes, we do. Well, first of all, we just like to welcome all of our viewers. Definitely want to say thank you for tuning in to another Tips and Tea Tuesday. Good morning. Good morning. We are so excited that you decided to start your morning with us. So, whether you're listening in, watching, or traveling on your way to work, we just appreciate you joining us and spending your time with me or excuse me, spending your time with us. We are super excited to talk about today's topic. This is learning and growing. So, we're going to take a deep dive into talk about, and we're talking about mindset and money and faith and finances. But we definitely want you to level up your game. And today's topic is lessons that you are, excuse me, that you know now that you wish you knew in your 20s. So, leveling up money game and what you would have done if you knew what you knew now in your 20s, flipping $1,000 into opportunity. So make sure you like and share this video or tag someone that you feel that this possibly can help, because we all have made some bad money moves in our younger age. And now that we're grown and a little bit more seasoned, if we had that opportunity to do over again, we definitely would have made some changes.
All right. Yeah, let's definitely get the chat going early, everybody. You know, what's one money mistake that you learned the hard way? Maybe your testimony can help someone
Yes.
else make that
Yes,
same
that
money
is so
mistake.
true.
So we're definitely not gatekeepers here. We love to come in here on Tips and Tea and just share our personal journeys, right? What we've
Right.
been through over the years, what's worked for us, what didn't work, what we're still stuck in, and we're trying to navigate our way out of.
Yes.
So that's what we love to do here, and we love our audience to engage and share with it. And I know 1,000
Right.
doesn't really seem like a lot, especially when gas prices, especially in some areas of our country right now, where it's at $6, $7 a gallon, right?
Woo.
Up, groceries are growing up, rent prices are still steadily increasing, but our salaries are holding steady where they are. In some cases, some people have seen a decrease in their income.
Yes.
So definitely want to get your thoughts, what you've on the way. And just shout out again to our Tips and Tea Live audience. Good morning, Bray. Good morning, Carmen and Kier. Good morning. We
Good
got some
morning,
queens in the
Queen.
chat. Good morning, Teresa.
Yes, good morning, good morning. Happy Tips
I
and Tea
love it. I love it.
Tuesday.
Bray already put it out. Thank you, Queen, for sharing. And Bray is
Yes,
an amazing financial consultant that we're partnered with through Nove as well. She's getting out there in the community and educating and making connections. So, you know, you're not connected with Bray, you should be.
yes,
Yep, she said the
definitely.
proper use of credit cards. That's a big one. A lot of us learned the hard way on that one. That is not actually our money, right?
Right, right.
No,
That is so true.
we're
When you're
looking it
not
up
taught
and we
about
can see.
something, you get a credit card and you like, oh, the first thing you want to do is go shopping. But I think we've all done that before in our past. But now, you know that you need to use a credit card and money as a tool.
Hmm. Yeah. And I used to make a joke when we first started the Tips and Tea Live, right? Where I was just like, I use my credit card everywhere. I go grocery shopping, I put gas charges on my card. We go out to eat, we go travel. I use my credit card for everything. I don't use my debit card, right? But I was saying that because I use my credit card for those things. Those are everyday things I have to pay for anyway.
Hmm.
But I don't use the credit card for more than what I have in my bank account,
Right.
right? Whatever's in my bank account still have to cover what I'm spending on that credit card. So I'm not outspending what's on my credit card. Of course, there's cases where there are emergencies and things like that, where sometimes you do have to do those things. But that's why it's very important for us to help you get started with an emergency fund. So now you're not using other people's money and putting yourself in debt to cover those emergencies, right? So that's why we are big advocates for paying yourself first. You know,
Yes.
the first at least, let's say, 5% of your paycheck, if you can, that should be going to your bank account, going towards expenses and emergencies. We need to work towards, if I lose this job that supplement my income, how many months can I survive without it, without that steady paycheck coming in?
Right.
Right? Is it 1 month? Is it 2 months? You know, people want to have at least 3 months. The experts are saying you need to have 6 to 12 now at this point, because it's taking people even longer to replace that income when they lose their jobs now.
That is
It's
so
not,
true.
I'm going to get a job to flip it real quick. It's getting harder and harder now.
Yes, ma'am. That is so true. A lot of people don't even have $1,000 saved up for an emergency fund. And just like Chantella mentioned, you should have at least 3 to 6 months worth of money saved up for to cover your expenses. Because in the event you lose a job, what are you going to do? You still have a mortgage to pay or rent. You still have groceries to get. So you need to make sure that we are using our money wisely, not just spending frivolously.
Yes.
That
And
knowing
dropping
the
in there.
percentage of what the household needs, 50, 30, 10. I know that's right, Kiera. That's a good tip.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. When was the last time you looked at your bills? Like
Yeah.
really look, not just guesstimating. I have to give a shout out to my sister from a different mister. She was on last week and she talked about budgeting and knowing your
Mhm.
numbers, right? And not just guessing at the
Right.
numbers. Actually going into your bank account and looking at exactly what's being spent. So looking at your bank statements, looking at those credit card statements and going line by line to see where your money is going, right? And literally, if you have a tool there in your bank account, because I know Fifth Third does it, Bank of America does it, where they'll show you there's a chart. This is how
Mhm.
much you spent on travel. This is how much you spent on utilities. This is how much you spent on rent, groceries. Like it gives you a pie chart, a breakdown of where your money is going and an overall sum for that amount for each month, right? They'll even chart it over a couple months if you want to see it for like the quarter.
Right.
They'll even make suggestions on where you could cut some spending.
Gotta love technology. But
AI,
again,
AI
it's
is
a tool we
everywhere.
need to use, not just look over.
Yes, I'm having technical difficulties with this screen now. Is yours like glitching, like bouncing?
No, ma'am, it's not. I mean, initially when we came on, the screen had went black, but then you pop back up. Can everybody
Okay.
see us and hear us okay out there? Drop a one in the chat if you can see us and hear us okay, or is the live glitching?
Yeah, it's doing it again for me. It doesn't look like it's doing it when I'm looking at it on the live on Facebook. So
Okay.
it's just on my end, I think, where I'm seeing it. So you might lose me, but you got this queen.
Hey,
Carry on for the live.
we will carry on. And everybody's dropping one so they can see us and hear us okay, so that's perfect.
Okay, that's good. That's good. All right, so we'll jump right into it. So I think for me, this is things that I wish I would have
Mhm.
did when I was younger. You know, basically money moves I wish I knew in my 20s. Like I heard people talking about it, and I started early on working. like in the summer before I went off to school at NIU, and I was working for this company called Beacons, which if people know it from way back when, it's like a moving company. Sometimes you see
Mhm.
the truck, the green and white trucks on the road. And I was like a summer clerk, but every time I came home from school or when I left NIU, I was back working there again, right?
Mhm.
And I wish I would have started investing in a 401k with
Mm.
that company because it was there. Because I left and came back so many times. I remember one time I was standing in the hallway and it listed like how long everyone had been with the company. And since I had been working there since high school, basically, it showed that I had been there for like 5 years. Even though I would leave and
Okay.
come back. It was just like a lapse of time in between me working like over the summer and things. But it showed that I had 5 years working for that company. And I was just thinking I should have started that 401k back when I was 18. I should have did it. Because it's important. All that compounding interest.
Mhm.
Because it
That
still compounds, even if you're not making active contributions, that money that's sitting in that 401k account still is earning interest. It's
yes.
still going to work for you, depending on how you have it allocated, right? So, like, say someone could save early on $100,000,
Mm.
right? Eventually, when they get ready to retire, that could be $1 million retirement fund
Right.
because that interest is compounding over time. You start at 25. If you start at 25, and by the time you hit retirement age, if you do at least the bare minimum, you can have at least $800,000 in that account.
Wow. That's crazy to even think about that. Because I can definitely understand where you're coming from. Because, being uneducated financially, when I was younger, I did have a 401k, but
Mm.
I was I guess, like you mentioned before, you were always a student. Or no, my sister said she's always a student. I was always going to different classes, picking up different skills, so that way I could improve my money coming in. And so therefore I would change jobs. And when I would change jobs, I would close out my 401k because I wanted to have that money. But I
Mm.
wish that I would have left it there so it could have rolled over, or I could have added it to the next one that I had. And I let a lot of money go and wasted it just spending it frivolously. But something that you can do is just start small, just saving, even if you can't really put a lot away. You can just start small, saving a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there till you get more disciplined. And then you will have that emergency fund. Or, like Chantella said, as far as the 401k, maybe increase your monthly money that you put in there. Or if you're doing it with your employer biweekly, increase that amount that you're depositing in there. Because some employers do have matching where they'll match you what you put in.
Yes. You got to think about this way. If you wait 10 years down the line to start the 401k versus if you could have started 10 years earlier, now you
Right.
kind of, if you want to keep up to what you would have been had in your savings, if you would have started 10 years before,
Hmm.
you now need to put in 3 times the amount in
Mm.
order to catch up to where you would have been 10 years beforehand. Right. And then with saving, with doing the 401k, it creates a habit for you. It creates
Right.
a saving habit where it just becomes automatic. You don't even think about it anymore, right? You don't even miss the money because you're so used to it just being gone. I don't even count it
Hmm.
when it's going into the account. So it starts. You might see it at first. You're like, oh, I'm giving this account my money. I need it right now. But even with the 401k, if you have an emergency and you just saved up enough money, you can borrow from your 401k.
Yes, you can.
Some plans allow you to borrow from it and you're paying yourself back the interest versus going to get these payday loans or these high interest credit cards, right? Where you're not getting any of that money back. It's just gone. And they typically are charging way lower interest rates on the money that you're borrowing from your 401k plan.
That is true. That's definitely
Mm-hmm.
true. Set that 401k up, and then you always have a little bit of an emergency fund. And also, we need to start working on building our credit. because your credit, again, is a tool and it's something that's going to help you in the long run. And now people are actually running out of their 401k because, or outliving them, because they either didn't put enough in, or longevity, they only have a certain amount in there. But what are you going to do when that money runs out? Because I know personally, I don't want to have to be working when I'm 70, 65 or 70. The goal is to have that nest egg set up and be able to sit back and relax at a certain point. I mean, we've all worked hard throughout our life. I mean, there's been times that I've had 2 and 3 jobs. So if I had done my due diligence and let that money sit there, it could have accrued interest and stacked up, and I would have more than one 401k. So just being smart about the way we're spending and not always trying to keep up with everybody else, because you don't know what everybody else's bank account looks like. They might look like $1 million, but that bank account might be negative money or minus money. So you want to make sure that you are taking care of yourself and choosing discipline over desire. You don't have to have what the next person has. Just be comfortable with what you need, and then that money is there. Just don't spend it.
Absolutely. I think it's a little bit easier now with financial planning because there's so many different tools with technology that you can actually consult with for free. Like you can go to ChatGPT now and
Right.
ask Chat to come up with a financial plan for you, right? At least give you the basics.
Hmm.
Am I saying ChatGPT can replace a financial planner expert? No, not at
No.
all, right? But it give you a good starting roadmap of what to do, some basic budgeting things that you can start out with, right? Build up the foundation. So when you get to the financial planner, you actually have already started. So they have a cleaner and clearer picture of how to
Right.
help you because it still has to come from you. They don't know what to do unless they can see everything that you have going on. And if you don't know exactly what's happening in your financial life, how are they going to really know?
Right.
Right? Because there's things that information you might not be giving them. So they're missing a piece of that puzzle and they can't really work for you the way you need them to because you don't know what you need to be able to do to get to the goal of buying the house or funding the business or creating generational wealth with having some people want a big real estate portfolio, right?
Mm.
People want to live abroad. They want to be able to have more flexibility. So teacher said, I don't want to work in my 70s.
Mm-mm.
That's an amazing goal. I don't either. I just want to sit on my porch and let them kids to stay off my lawn.
Right? Yes, ma'am.
So in order to do that, we have to know what's going on. So knowing, you know, your financial roadmap when it comes to, okay, how much money am I actually making after taxes, after all the expenses, right? Not letting that lifestyle creep up on you with all this extra spending, putting the vacations on Klarna Afterpay, right? I know we want to do it. I know you want to do it, but can you afford to do it?
Right.
Right? Some people can because they got bonus money coming in. It's going to cover certain expenses. I can't speak on certain things, but I know that if you're using credit cards or Afterpay and Klarna and you don't have the money to cover it currently in your bank account,
Mm.
it might not be such a great move, right? It's one thing to use these things for emergencies, but to go on vacation, right, and to spend more money, and then we're like, oh no, I'm in debt.
Right.
I'm in debt and I don't see a way out. Now, some people can budget their way out of things. Some people will pick up a second job or additional income to pay that off, right? But if you know you're not one of those people that's not going to create another stream of income for yourself to pay that off,
Right.
we might not need to go there in the first place.
Yes, ma'am.
There has to be a balance. There has to be a balance, right? So if you don't have no budget, no structure, no plan, it's usually going to equal struggle, right? There's no system, meaning there's no control there. You have a lack of discipline. If you start creating a system, or asking for help on how to create a system, that would definitely help and get you back on track.
Yes, ma'am. That is so true. And, we need to check our credit report regularly. That way you can navigate any errors, um, increase your credit, things like that, because we have all been in situations where we have overspent, but we need to make sure that you're not overspending, that you're using things wisely, and use that credit as a tool, not to go like she mentioned before, not to go on these trips, not to do things that are frivolous. You want to make sure that you are investing your money, again, checking your credit report, things like that. So that way you can work hard now, but relax later. Because a lot of people have that mentality that they want to live in the day, live for right now. But if you're living for right now and not looking for your future, what is that going to cost you?
Hmm. Absolutely. Yes. And then for our hard earners, for those who are just getting started, but they're already earning some money, just because you got the high paycheck don't mean you need to go out and buy the $100,000 car right away. All right. At least wait till you get past your 90 days
Right.
at minimum. You're gonna do it. At least wait until you get past your 90-day probationary period, right? But usually I say let's hold off for a year. Let's see what happens with this job and this income. Because you never know, right? Put some money away to save to cover those expenses just in case something does happen. You know, I've said it before. I had a situation where myself, my husband, we were earning more money and we had the option to go and get the bigger house. But literally it was just three of
Mhm.
us. It was just three of us. And we went and we looked at some bigger houses. We went from a townhome. We were like, okay, we want a single family home. I was frustrated. I don't want to share walls no more because my neighbors was crazy. They was crazy. I was done with it. You can hear them fighting through the
Oh,
walls.
no.
I was like, it's time to move. I'm ready to get out of here. So we were ready to buy a house, and we could have went and bought a bigger house and really like stretched our dollars. But it came down to, Mr. Shabazz had to talk some sense back into me. He was like, can we afford this off one income?
Mhm.
If somebody gets sick or we lose his job, because we've been there before. We've we've experienced that where one of us was working and one of us was not multiple times throughout our life together. So it's not like this was a maybe this might happen. Oh, we've been there.
Right.
So we know the possibility of it, especially in the industries that we worked in, right? So we were like, okay, let's make sure we get something where whatever the lowest salary amount it is, we can still afford it. And then that gave us opportunities to be able to take more trips,
Mhm.
to get things that we wanted to get because we had a nice healthy savings plan. And if we wanted to go to a concert, we could. And we weren't stressed out and sweating bullets. We wanted to go away for the weekend and drive up to a different state and spend a weekend at the lake, we could because we wasn't stressed over because we wasn't out spending ourselves on a day-to-day basis. So you just really have to look at your money and realize that you don't have to spend every single last dollar that comes in.
That is so true. That's true. And I mean, some of those things you live by, or excuse me, you learn by doing because at one point in time when I was younger, they used to always say, yeah, money burns a hole in your pocket. You're always spending. Every time I had a little extra money, I felt like I needed to go do something or go spend some money. So that's another mistake I did in my, early 20s that I wish I hadn't done and just let that money stack up and save. Because if I would have had that money in a high yield savings account, imagine how much I would have had now just to let it stack up and be there. And it's a good thing that you, like you're saying, you guys thought ahead as far as the planning and things for the home, because how many of us get into situations where we get a little bit of an increase on our finances on our job, and then you want to upgrade your living or upgrade your car, and then Lo and behold, an accident happens, and now you're trying to scramble to figure out, how am I going to make this car payment? How am I going to pay my rent? I myself went through a situation where I was sick and I was off on medical leave. But when you're off on medical leave, you're only getting 60% of what I would have been getting. So that put me in a
Mhm.
financial rut. So I definitely did learn from that situation to make sure that what I'm paying out monthly, I can afford if I'm only bringing in 60%, because that put me in a financial bind. And it got kind of scary for a little while. So that is something that we all need to think about, especially if you are a single person. What are my expenses going out? And if there was an emergency and I wasn't able to work, would I still be able to afford this? Would I still be able to manage my daily needs?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's things you have to think about, and it's true. And we're not saying you can't live and you can't have fun and you can't take the trip, but look at where you are right now financially. Does it make sense for you to go and get the $800 car note right
Mm-mm.
now when you're just getting out of debt, right? Or you're just getting started? Maybe it makes more sense for you to get something more economical, you know, based on how your life is right now. And then once you are able to save up an emergency fund, really build up a good retirement plan and start investing towards that, then you're in a better position where now it's time to go get the car that you wanted, right? Take the dream vacation to the Maldives or the St. Lucia, wherever it is. You need to look into getting the bigger house once you have that savings plan that's going to be able to cover those bills in case something does happen.
Yes.
Let's see here. Do we have any more comments? Just double check in the chat here. Yep. So we're talking about today, mistakes we made in our 20s that we wish we could have done differently. And also, we had an extra $1,000. What would we do with it? So if you want to share in the chat anything that you learned from your 20s that you want our listeners today to know, so maybe it helps them navigate around making those same mistakes instead of having to go through it.
Yes, ma'am. Live.
We trying to have those money conversations that we didn't hear that much of when we were younger.
Yes, ma'am.
That I definitely wish we start having these conversations. I'm trying to brainwash my daughter a little bit. She's 21, and have her really start having these conversations with her friends, because still now, even
Mhm.
now, these conversations are still missing our kids. They're not so much into it. It's very pop culture, you know. I just know I need to work and earn money, but what do I need to do with the money, right? So that's why we are saying I wish that when I was 20, I wish I would have invested in my 401k earlier instead of waiting until I was almost 30.
Yes, ma'am.
I wish I would have did that sooner, a lot sooner. C said I wish I would have understood more about credit cards
Yes, ma'am.
back then and how to really start to build credit. So definitely I would say let's have these conversations with our kids, with our children in the community, because sometimes it might not be our own kids, but it might be the kids in our church. It might be the kids that go to school with, that's near us. They need to know these things. And if you have that background, you can help. Even your testimony helps people.
Yes, ma'am. That is so true.
Yes. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Queen.
I'm gonna jump into it. So we talking about the $1,000. If I
What would
had
you
extra
do, Queen?
$1,000, what would I do with it? The practical side of me would be like, well, I would definitely pay down some debt, right? But it's not really making that much of an impact depending on how much debt that you do
Right.
have. And I would say I would put it in my savings, at least put it in my high yield savings. But a part of me would say I would split that, right? And I would just definitely do some investing just to see how I can turn around, even if it's putting it in, a mutual fund where 80% of it is going into like savings and
Mhm.
bonds, right? Where it's kind of a little bit safe and slower growth versus playing the stock market a little bit. So I would definitely do a little bit more investing with the thousand. I think that would be a route that I would go, and I would take half of that and put it in investing, and then the other half I would invest it back into my business. Maybe do something where it's going to help reach more people,
Right.
um, with marketing, giving me back some of my time. So maybe investing in like, I already have a virtual assistant that helps me with prospecting, and maybe amping it up
Mm,
a little bit more and having them be able to call more people. Because right now I'm in a place where I'm taking on a lot of calls, day to day. So I struggle with sometimes doing my own prospecting calls. So maybe investing in something like that. So it's very practical, but again, it's only $1,000. So
it's only gonna go so far. But I definitely understand that, Queen. And those are definitely some smart money moves. If I had an extra $1,000, I would definitely either invest it in a skill, building credit, or starting a business. Because in this day and age, it's very hard to survive off of just one income. So having multiple streams of income is definitely a blessing. Being able to wake up and see that you've gotten paid and it's not from your paycheck, or just even realizing, oh, I got paid today, but I wasn't stressed about waiting for my payday. So, just like you've mentioned, investing it, but investing it wisely, putting it down like to start another business. Um, and probably I would, check to see if there's anything on my credit report that I would need to address. But if not that, I would definitely put it in my high yield savings account and let that interest continue to grow.
yeah, I think definitely investing in like a business, or say something that you're good
Right.
at, right? If you got the skill, right? I have an auntie who can cook down. Shout out to my auntie
Okay,
Nancy,
Auntie Nancy.
and she makes and she grows a garden. She does the jarring and everything like that, and she can sew. Baby, she can tailor you a suit. She can make a dress. She has skills, so she has like multiple things that she's very very good at, and to really develop that skill and be able to reach more people. Where now you can start getting some passive income in just off the designs that she's doing, right? Maybe she starts teaching a cooking class, just different things. She opens up she starts doing a YouTube channel where she's teaching cooking. Now she has some residual income coming in off of YouTube. So
Mm,
just developing like the skills that you have already been blessed with by God, and to be able to share that with more people, and then you can make an income off of that, right? We partner with some affiliate marketing programs that help people with financial wellness, where we just share information about how to be better off in your personal and your business life. And we can actually earn money just by sharing that information and helping point people in the right direction based on our experience and based on what is actually happening right now in our economy.
mhm.
So there's definitely a lot of avenues you can go down. I've seen beauty affiliates do the affiliate marketing where they love doing their makeup. They just cold with it. I've seen people do the costume makeup where they turn into whole
Yeah.
characters, right? And they get sponsored by makeup brands. Tap into them skills.
Yes, ma'am. In this day and age,
'Cause-
it's so easy to, tap into other skills because we're in the digital age and people like to watch videos and they like to see how other people are living and things that you can do being creative. So I definitely agree with you, tapping into your other skills, because it's always a good thing when you can earn money doing something that you love or something that brings you some enjoyment, not just your day-to-day job, not just working. If you can do something that brings a smile to your face, helps other people, puts a smile on other people's face, then why not do it?
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah, especially look, you might be a low key comedian. You like acting out
Hey,
things and making other people laugh. Do some of these skits these people be doing.
yes, ma'am. Hey, you can go viral off of one video.
Yeah, maybe you good at telling stories, whatever it is. You have a gift that you can share, and definitely, just hone that skill and just be able to develop it and just share it with the world. But things that we've learned, right? We have to kind of roll back in there. I said I was going to share a personal story. A part of it is also being able to protect yourself,
Mhm.
right? Protect the band. We talked about that last week with Miss Kimberly Lee about making sure you secure the bag and watch out for fraud. And I had experience when I was in school where I just wasn't even thinking about it, right? I had roommates. I had a trunk that was in my closet while I was away at college, and I used to keep my checks. I had like a TCF account, and I used to keep my checks locked in this trunk, and it had a lock on there and everything. And I didn't think anything of it, but thank God for my mom because she was like, Shantella, you're getting some mail here at the house, and I opened it, and she was like, "This ain't saying your account is negative." She's like, "Did you spend any money out this account?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't even used that account at all." And she said, "Why is it negative?" Turns out someone stole my checks. It was writing checks in my name, things like that. And I was in college, y'all, so I didn't really have any money
Bless your
back
heart.
then. So they didn't get much. I think it was only about $200 or $300. But even something like that is just being aware of your surroundings, right? Being aware of your finances and like your checkbooks, if you have them. Nowadays, is how you spend your money online.
Mhm.
So that translates over to just making smarter moves and being more conscious that there are people out there that will take your things if you're not being careful with them. So we were talking about last week not using your debit card to make purchases online because it takes some time for that fraud to be reported, police reports to be filed, and then to also recoup that money if the bank decides in your favor that it is actual fraud. You can be months
Mm.
going through some of these cases, right? And that money in your account is frozen typically when things like that happen. So you don't have access to that. So again, there's some preventive things that you can do to avoid these things, right? So not using your debit card to shop online. You need to go get a prepaid card
Yes.
if you want to shop online or use a credit card. Usually the credit card is not freezing your whole credit card account when you report a fraud on a few of the items that's showing up as fraudulent charges. Also, another thing that you can do, you can make sure you turn them notifications on
Yes, ma'am.
to alert you of what's being charged to your account. My bank account hits a certain balance, I'm getting an alert. Every time a charge comes in on my credit card, I'm getting a notification. It pops up on my phone. I look right at it. I'm like, okay, Aziz used the Uber last night to go to the grocery store.
You get
I
notification.
see it. I see it exactly how much it costs. Being aware of things like that. It might be annoying to you, but would you rather know what charge is hidden in that moment, or do you want to find out 6 months later that someone came and stole hundreds or thousands of dollars from you?
Yes, ma'am.
And once you hit a certain limit, um, once you hit a certain time period, especially some of the banks, you can't claim it as fraud anymore. I know when one of the banks I was banking with, if it went past 6 months and you didn't catch it, that money was gone, you passed a reporting period. It's just
Oh,
gone at that point. So being
yes, ma'am.
aware,
Definitely got to do your. I'm sorry,
yeah,
Quinn. I
it's
didn't mean to
really
speak over you. Go right.
yeah, you have to know, like you should ask your bank these questions, right? Ask the credit card companies these questions. You have to know if something like this does happen, what are the steps? What do I need to do? How much time do I have? We can't delay things anymore. You can't keep putting off things. This is frozen
No,
again. Can
ma'am.
you hear me, Steve?
Yes, I can hear you. At first, it was like glitching out a little bit because I
Okay.
was talking and I didn't want to speak over you, but I can hear you and see you just fine now.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm sorry. It was frozen, so I didn't hear anything. I couldn't see anything. I just saw you go like this.
No, you are good. But thank you for sharing that information because I'm sure that was a huge surprise, especially you trying to be careful and keep your checks and things locked up, and then finding out that someone had access to your account and overdrew it. I can, oh, that would have hurt my little heart. So I can definitely understand that. Um, One of the mistakes that I made when I was younger is there's been a couple times in my life where I have received, you know, extra money or a lump sum of money um, for various reasons. And each time that happened to me, what did I do? I ran out and I went shopping. I took me and my friends to get our nails done and our hair done, or just different things like that, just blowing the money instead of saving it, like you mentioned earlier, putting it in a CD or, doing something with it so that money could earn interest. And or putting a down payment on a house, so that way I could have had my own home and the money that I've spent in rent could have went to a home that was going to be mine instead of me paying someone else's mortgage. So just different things like that. I wish that I would have known now, or excuse me, known then what I know now, because if I hadn't known those things, then I could have set myself up for a much easier life. But you live and you learn, and now's the time to just pivot and correct those mistakes. And I'm very thankful that I've come in contact with a group of people that share wealth knowledge. Um, I've even come to you before, Chantella, and asked your opinion on certain things. So it's just better to be, educated when you and learn from your mistakes when you do make these mistakes. And then also too to surround yourself by people that have been through certain things so they can kind of advise you or give you, food for thought so you can make a better decision financially. Um, just learning, it's always if I knew then what I know now, things would have been different. So don't waste your money. If you get a lump sum of money, put it up. Let that money work for you. Put it in a high yield savings account. Pay off debt. And then once you get to that part, or excuse me, space in your life where you're debt free or your credit has shot up, don't run out and go get something because that's just going to drop it right back down. Let that sit for a little while. Just, you don't have to always have the
Mm-hmm.
nicest thing. Having something to me at this age, having something that's paid off that belongs to me is better than going out and getting something new, trying to look fly for the next person. I'm content with what I have. I'm content with who I am. So that's another lesson that I learned. Not having to keep up with the Joneses, not trying to compare myself to other people. Because somebody that has a really, really nice car, they got a really, really nice car note. My car is paid off. you know so sometimes you have to look at your little wins and different things that you've accomplished and be proud of yourself.
Absolutely. You absolutely right. Yes. Thank you for sharing that, C. And I'm gonna jump right into what our kings had to say about what they do with the extra
Oh,
1,000.
yes.
Because I wanted to see, what the difference was compared to what we think, compared to what our kings are saying out there. So I did a little poll. I reached out to a couple of kings, some of our business partners, some of the members of my family,
Mhm.
and got some very interesting answers. See if y'all can guess who said what. See
Hey,
if
let's
you
play the guessing game.
Mm, absolutely. So King one, I did ask. I said, so the question was, what would you do with the extra 1,000, right? And King number one
Mhm.
said I would buy equipment and start a service based business, or buy something for lesser, right? And then flip it. All right, so sell it for more. So look for things, look for the deals, the bargains, and try to flip that. If he's trying to make 1,000 fairly quickly. And I kind
Mm.
of laughed out loud because he was like, "What, the legal way?" I said, "Yes, legally."
Oh
Oh,
no, not the
no,
legal
not
way.
the legal
Yes,
way.
sir.
Like, legal. That was
Goodness.
the first question. Legally, yes.
Yes.
So that's another way to think about it. And that kind of lets you know that person's mindset is like ownership, right? They're creating
Mhm.
income and not just spending money, right? Because he could have went the other way with it. Oh, I would take that $1,000 and I would go run it up in Vegas or something, because that
Yes.
could be an answer, right?
Yes, ma'am.
King number two said, I would use it as a down payment for a car, to start a two-row business, or get a notary license, right? To expand another stream of income. This King
Uh-oh.
is a, oh, can you still hear me? I know I glitched out.
Yes, ma'am. You just disappeared for a hot second, but you're back.
Okay, perfect. So one of the Kings was, he does loan, he's a loan officer.
Mhm.
He also helps with financial services, consulting, credit building, business funding. And just to give his clients another option, he would add like a notary service as well, um, to his existing business, or start another business that can generate more income. So he mentioned Turo. So he's leveraging money, to literally create multiple opportunities for himself, his family.
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
you still hear me?
Yes, yes, I can still hear you. I can still hear you just fine.
Okay, perfect. So king number three, he said he would buy 1,000 chicken nuggets from Wendy's and never McDonald's, because the clown is the devil.
What?
That's what he told me.
1,000 chicken
Yes.
nuggets from Wendy's, never
He would
McDonald's,
buy a
because the clown
thousand
is the
chicken nuggets
devil.
from Wendy's.
Ronald McDonald is not the devil.
The clown is the devil.
Oh my gosh. I'm sitting over here trying to think who said that?
But
Oh
even in
God.
that, that's a lesson, right? Are we consuming or are we creating? Right?
Hey,
What are
yeah.
you doing with that thousand? I did talk to another king. He said that he would invest in land, right? He would buy lots of land for the low investment. Maybe he would buy and hold until he would be able to invest more money to develop that land, or possibly do like a trailer park setup or lease it out to other people to develop. There's different opportunities there. So
Yes,
he's
ma'am.
building up his real estate through land, right? He would take that and find where he can purchase some lands for a piece of land for $1,000. So a lot of different routes that you can go. And can we buy a piece of land for $1,000 in Chicago? Maybe not, but you might be able to buy a lot of land outside of Chicago, right? In more of the rural areas. You go down to maybe Arkansas, Alabama, some of those areas, West Virginia.
Yes, ma'am. That is true. And then, you may be able to get a piece of land for $1,000 depending on how you get it, because they have,
Mhm.
property and things. Sometimes somebody may not have paid their taxes. You may be able to scoop it up that way.
Absolutely. Paying off somebody's taxes. You can do that.
Yes, ma'am.
Just different routes that you can go, right? So, ladies, we need to hear from you all. What would you do
Yes. Let's
if you
check with
had
the
an extra
audience.
thousand
Let's see
dollars?
what's going on here. How would you use that $1,000 if you had an extra 1,000?
Right? You
Drop
heard from our
level up.
kings.
Oh, sorry, Queen. You go right ahead.
That was that. You heard from our kings. So tell me
Yeah.
you won't be buying $1,000 worth of chicken nuggets.
Mm-mm.
I want to make sure I did.
Yep. And then flip that money, buy something with a less value, sell it for a higher value. That's definitely a come up. But, drop level up in the comments if you're ready to move differently with your money. And
Hmm.
tell us one thing that you're doing after this live. Let us know something that you would do differently.
Yes, and while we're waiting for the comments to come in, I do want to drop in here, especially since this is Financial Literacy Month, and
Hmm.
we're big advocates for knowing to do better, but actually
Yes.
taking the action behind it. So, if you need any help with your credit, we do have a done for you credit repair system that will help remove inaccurate information, negative items. We actually have licensed professionals that's going to help you be able to get your personal financial life back in order, right? And they have attorney back support as well through our done for you credit repair system. Now, we also have a great business credit Builder program, where you're learning how to build business credit. And this is done the right way. We're making sure you're structured properly, you're setting up the proper vendor accounts, and our specialists are helping you apply for those credit cards and those lines of credit to make sure you get your maximized funding of a guarantee of 50,000 in business credit funding. And while you're working on building your business credit through this program, you can also work on repairing your personal credit as well. So some really great options that we're putting out here, especially for Financial Literacy Month. We're also helping people with funding if you need it. We have a free application process, so we can check to see if you can get qualified, and it's not going to cost you any money upfront to see if your business can get funded. And if you need help with understanding where you need to go financially, we do have that free financial needs analysis that's going to help map out a personalized plan for you, whether it's credit building, whether it's you have building a business from scratch, or building up the existing business you have, and if you have funding goals, right? We address all these things through our financial need analysis. So if you do need help with any of these areas, feel free to drop info in our chat or message us directly, and we'll send you over a link and we'll help you get started.
Yes, ma'am. We definitely can help you with that. Do you see anything new in the comments? I
I
didn't
do
see any.
not, but I think I have a lag going on here.
Gotcha. Well, no worries. Well, before we close, we definitely want to give you guys an affirmation, so we can reset our mindset before we close this evening. And the affirmation that I like to share with you guys is I am intentional with money. Every dollar that I receive has a purpose, and I use it to build the life that I desire. I'm going to read that one more time. I am intentional with my money.
Yeah.
Every dollar that I receive has a purpose, and I use it to build the life that I desire. And also, too, a scripture, Proverbs 21:5. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. So let's plan. Let's make sure that we have goals that we are achieving. Let's make sure that we are putting our money aside and using it wisely so that we do not end up on that poverty side. We want the abundance, not the poverty.
Yes, and don't forget to ask God to help you with the plan. Ask Him to
Yes,
show you the plan so that He can bless it for you.
yes, ma'am.
Project things, but it might not be the path that God has already outlined for us to follow. So many blessings to you, everyone. I just want to say thank you again for tuning into the live. This was definitely a good conversation today. I learned a lot.
Yes, ma'am. I learned a lot, and honey, if we knew then what we know now, things would be a little different.
Yes, but now we're in a position where the things we wish we would have knew in our 20s, now we can help that generation that's coming up right now. Let's help them, right?
Yes,
Because we've
ma'am.
been through it, we've experienced it. Now we're in a position now where it's our turn to give back. So if you can, definitely help the next generation that's coming up understand how money works, how to definitely use it as a tool in their life to make sure that when they're in their 70s, they don't have to depend on Social Security that might not be there for them, and that they don't have to continue working if they don't want to. So feel free to like, comment, share. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Tips and Tea Live. You can definitely go back and watch some of our previous lives there. Some really great previous information that we dropped before. So just a reminder that this information is great, but application is definitely everything. So you can take it in, but you definitely need to apply it. So we'll see you next week, everyone. Love, love, many blessings.
Everyone have a blessed Tuesday and a blessed rest of your week. See you next Tuesday.